It is 3 o'clock. Welcome. We're going to go ahead and get started. Good afternoon and welcome to the CSUDH virtual meet and greet with President Parham for fall 2020 admit. My name is Kara Furman and I will be your MC and guide for today. My colleagues Fidel Garcia and Marcus Jones will be working their technology magic in the background. We have a lot of information for you today. We're very excited that you're here and our numbers will continue to grow as we are meeting. Today you're going to hear from President Parham and members of his cabinet as they discuss issues that are important to you as incoming students to the California State University, Dominguez Hills. Can you go to the next slide, please? As I mentioned, we have a lot of information for you, but before we get started, there's a few housekeeping notes. Next slide, please. Thank you. So a couple of things that we want you guys to be aware of. Students, please include in your name if you are a first year or transfer student. I'm going to show you how to do that in just a moment. So for example, if you're Teddy Toro first year, you can just put in parentheses FY after your name. Counselors and principals, please include the name of your institution. Also, you'll notice that many of our team members have included pronouns with their name. Please add your pronoun. Examples, they, them, she, her, or he, him, etc. To make these changes, please hover over your name in the attendee section and click on More to rename. Take a few minutes to rename yourself because this option is going to be disabled once the meeting begins. So while you're doing that and you're renaming yourself, letting us know the name of your institution or whether you're a first-year transfer student, I'm going to go through a couple of other things. Next slide, please. So we ask that you ask your questions that pertain to the agenda topics, which I'll review in just a moment, and keep them as close as possible to the topic that we're asking so that this way you can actually see the answers in real time as well. To ask a question, you can raise your hand. You can either ask it in a live moment. If you have a microphone, we will release the mic to you to ask your question. If you don't have a microphone or you're uncomfortable speaking live, you can certainly use the question and answer to ask a question. And as you can see, people have already been doing that. We welcome those. We do have a Spanish translation available today as well. Omar, are you somewhere nearby? I can see you. Would you like to introduce yourself and perhaps translate our overview?
Yes, of course. Buenas tardes para los padres familiares que estén aquí. Estamos para traducir también esta información en español. Por favor, no se detengan ni hagan preguntas si es que tienen. Vamos a tratar de cubrir muchas cosas hoy para contestar cómo es que se va a ver el semestre que viene para sus estudiantes. Entonces, yo voy a estar disponibles para ustedes. Cualquier cosa que necesiten en español, vamos a traducir para ustedes. Muchas gracias. Thank you, Carol.
Thank you. A few more minutes for those who are joining. If we can go back to the previous slide, just so everybody can see if you are just joining us, we'd like to know if you're a student, if you're first year or transfer. If you're a counselor or principal joining us, please include your institution and add your pronouns. You will hover over your name in the attendee section, click on More to rename, and then go ahead and change your name out. Again, we will disable this as we move forward, so now is the time to do that. Do we need to perhaps release something, technical support? Also, can we move on to the agenda slide, please? Thank you. All right, as I mentioned, we have a lot in store for you today. And after some introduction and remarks, our agenda is going to focus on these top 6 items. Number 1, fall 2020 instruction. Number 2, fall 2020 support services. Number 3, university housing. Number 4, student and faculty engagement. Number 5, fostering connections and a sense of belonging. And finally, we will address any other important areas or issues that may come up during our time together. I also want to point out that there are members from every campus division and support services available today, ready to answer your questions and concerns. All right, are we ready? I wish we could see everybody. Without any further ado, I present to you the president of CSU Dominguez Hills, Dr. Parham.
Let me say good afternoon. And I wish I could see all of you as well. I understand there will be upwards of a couple thousand people joining us today. So certainly the largest town hall we've ever done. So we look forward to you being here. So as I say good afternoon, those I've not had the privilege and pleasure of meeting, I am Dr. Thomas Parham, the president of California State University, Dominguez Hills. And on behalf of our gifted faculty, our dedicated staff, our illustrious senior administration, and the 17,000 plus students at our campus, I want to welcome you all to this virtual town hall forum. First, let me take a moment to congratulate the newly admitted high school students who have crossed this threshold, as well as congratulate the newly admitted transfer students from community colleges. Also want to congratulate all of their families on the degree attainment, and let you know that the pride we feel in your accomplishment is anchored both in a recognition of the perseverance and determination that you have had to demonstrate in navigating the pathways life has presented you with, and the fact that you have placed an educational down payment on a brighter future filled with promise and possibility. How delighted and proud of you are we, and delighted to see you here on this town hall. So for me, education continues to be the civil rights issue of our day. But that civil right only has impact in your lives, students, if you act on the opportunities afforded to you. And you have done that. And we salute your energy, your passion, and your enthusiasm for furthering your educational endeavors. Congratulations again. So, who are we? Who is this place we talk about as the Toro Nation, California State University, Dominguez Hills? You see, out of a desire to educate a broader segment of the region and state citizenry came an academic institution that was just bursting with potential to change the trajectory of people's lives. From the Southern California region of the South Bay and South Central Los Angeles, and born out of the social justice roots of the mid-60s and the Watts Rebellion, and nurtured in an academic ambiance of shared governance, transparent leadership, and student-centered education, comes a campus that is distinguishing itself as an important asset to the surrounding community. What's true is that at California State University, Dominguez Hills, we are experiencing a transformation of our academic footprint with new undergraduate and graduate degree programs, which will supplement the 45 undergraduate and 22 graduate degrees we already offer. We have newly accredited departments and additional faculty and staff. If you look, the aesthetic ambiance of the campus landscape is being transformed amid two brand new academic buildings, our Science and Innovation Building, which is completed recently, and our new Innovation and Instruction Building that will house our College of Business Administration and Public Policy that is well underway and will be completed in another year. We also have a brand new Living Learning Community Residence Hall that will house additional 506, let me say that again, an additional 506 bed spaces for our students to be able to occupy once it is safe to do so. So unquestionably, we are enriching student lives, transmitting knowledge and information, helping that knowledge, be supported with data and facts that help to transform, and frame cogent and persuasive arguments that students make. We're trying to equip students with the necessary skills to navigate the pathways to success in alignment with workforce needs. And we're trying to expand their base of knowledge through research and scholarship and co-curricular learning experiences that are among the activities that will characterize the mission of this institution and your presence here on this campus. Just think about that for a minute, students. But really, the real story that plays out each and every day on the Dominguez Hills campus is how the combination of intellectual resources, faculty and staff engagement, student support programs, and sound programmatic initiatives combine to create a transformative experience for our students who now believe that they belong and can succeed. That is how we make students feel when they come to the Dominguez Hills campus. And we're going to want you to feel the same way. You see, each of you is part of the latest generation of students to cross the threshold of educational prerequisites. And crossing that threshold has now earned you a place at the table that our university has set. So as we've set this table for you, know that we invite you to dine on a meal of intellectual enlightenment and illumination. We want you students, both freshmen and transfers, to really taste the delicacies of critical thinking and analysis. We want you to be satiated and just full by the aromas of creativity and innovation. And when your thirst for knowledge increases, you'll drink from the fountains of discovery and inquisition and select from a menu of academic and co-curricular learning opportunities. Indeed, we are excited and can't wait for you to be here. So students and parents, why is all that important? Because I believe, students, that each of you is a seed of divinely inspired possibility. I need you to hear me well on this. Because if we can nurture your seed in a proper context, it can and will grow into the fullest expression of all you are supposed to become. So what we promise you here at Dominguez Hills is that our university is the soil into which your seed of possibility will be placed. And much like the worker who tends the garden, we will cultivate your seed of possibility with the waters of intellectual stimulation, with the nutrients composed of enlightenment and illumination. We'll till the soil to eliminate the weeds of social distraction that really represent some of the challenges that you face in life. And we will somehow surround you with just enough, right, sunlight of affirmation and provide just enough shade of critique, and then stand back and watch you grow into the fullest expression of all you are supposed to become. That is what we want to promise you here at California State University, Dominguez Hills. That is what we want you to do as we help you grow personally and professionally and help you realize the greatest level of your promise and possibility. You'll know also our mascot, Teddy Toro, the bull, right, is who we try to represent in terms of those qualities and characteristics. And we seek to emulate the qualities that Teddy represents. His strength, his being regal, his determination, his persistence. We're all fond of saying that Toros at Cal State University, Dominguez Hills, are T squared. That means we transform lives that transform America. Now, given all, and given that, let me address a persistent question that has been received by my team and I about our fall planning and whether that means that you should take a gap year during this health crisis. So perhaps it makes sense to conclude my initial comments today by addressing those two issues. Now, we held a town hall meeting here on campus on May the 6th. And since that last town hall meeting, we held the subsequent one on May the 20th, where I announced several things and clarified and crystallized our plan for the fall. And even though that is still emerging and still trying to crystallize even further, here's what we know right now, right? First of all, I need you to know that every decision we make, hear me well, students and parents, every decision we make is made with the health and safety of our campus community in mind. So consequently, I nor my staff and the entire team of faculty, staff, and peer students will not knowingly compromise any element of health and safety to align with the restlessness to open a society up because people are tired of stay-at-home orders. We will not compromise your health and safety and will only do so when it is safe. But having said that, our campus will remain open for business, has been and will be. even though we have made a decision that the fall semester will be conducted in a principally virtual format. And that format will be supported by a combination of virtual, Zoom, online, synchronous, asynchronous instructional modalities, and very limited face-to-face engagement, and only then by circumstances that allow, right, no other way to provide an alternate mode of instruction. Second, all co-curricular learning opportunities and service delivery will be available and conducted in a virtual reality. We're excited about that. We also want you to know that major buildings will in fact be restricted from mass gatherings, and when open, will undergo physical distancing requirements and thorough cleaning and disinfecting process after use. So in order to protect the health and safety of the campus community, we're reviewing our capacity to partially open certain buildings and spaces come the fall semester. Fourth, people have asked questions about fees, but fees and tuitions associated will not be refunded, as it is sometimes requires actually more expense and not less expense to actually provide instruction and service delivery in a virtual reality. And fifth, our technological capability will be enhanced in order to accommodate our device loaner program, our area coverage and signal bandwidth, and provide voluntary professional development for our faculty, staff, and students to upgrade their skills during the summer months. Lastly, lots of you have asked and sent in notes about, should I take a gap year? And let me say that I would encourage you to think about joining us and not pursuing a gap year. Why do you say that, Dr. P? My rationale for opposing a gap year, despite the turmoil that now confronts us, begins first with the fact that higher education is one of the greatest engines of social mobility in our nation that exists. And so particularly for culturally different students and those that come from economically challenging circumstances, that is very true. In fact, several universities, including the California State University, Dominguez Hills, have been recognized for their work in elevating the social mobility of their students and families. So the sooner a student begins their academic journey, the faster they'll finish and be able to take advantage of the expanded range of jobs options and increased salary potential that come with a college degree. So gap year delays the launch of that trajectory towards greater success. Second, I'm also aware that there's something to be said about academic continuity and momentum. So immediately continuing one's studies catapults a student into the midst of college life, excited and engaged with their academic and co-curricular learning. Taking a gap year, in my opinion, potentially derails that momentum for some students that I think will be difficult to capture. Third, an additional variable centers around the distractions that work, expanded social activities, and opportunities to travel, and accumulation of bills, right, that you now have to pay, right, rest and with. So during a gap year, an individual may become so engaged with these endeavors that it's difficult to get back on track with their university studies. And while some students may have the discipline to easily re-engage and re-enroll in school, others will find it easy to extend that gap year indefinitely, giving them a bigger hurdle to climb once they decide to get back in the game. And finally, I'm cognizant of the fact that while a gap year typically allows one to work and travel and engage in broader aspects of social community, the COVID-19 health crisis has significantly disrupted any such plans. So people are still being advised to stay home. Jobs are being lost, businesses are closing and reducing workers, and domestic travel is being restricted. International travel, even more than that. That is a challenge. And so the predicted second wave of what we think this global pandemic is going to be is also potentially right at this nation's doorstep. So for all of those reasons, I would invite us, right, to do something different. So rather than take a gap year, what I want to do, right, is not encourage you to bow out, but rather I want to encourage you students to lean in. Because true virtual reality that now frames much of our university interaction is very different than what students were expecting. It's certainly different than the way I was taught and what we're all expecting. But I want you to know, like that old gospel song says, students and families, that trouble don't last always. Let me say that again. Trouble don't last always. And we will be through this, and emerge on the other side safe, healthy, and ready to engage the academic enterprise. And so the reality that now frames much of our instruction, while different, actually may provide new college students with some advanced peek and peek under the covers, if you will, into the future of what conducting web-based conversations and meetings are going to be like in virtual reality. So even in this moment of health crisis, there's a learning opportunity that exists. So what I want to do with that preamble today for today's town hall, I should say, I want to again congratulate all newly admitted students and their families. I want to encourage you to come on in and join the Toro Nation and engage with our rest of our faculty and staff. We are waiting for you. And I want to encourage you to submit your intent to enroll forms by the June 1st deadline. So with that, let me say thank you, welcome again. And now let me introduce our Vice President for Student Affairs, Dr. William Franklin. Dr. Franklin, take it away and say hello to our students.
Hey, thank you, Dr. Phelan. I'm so excited. There are almost 1,200 of you on this Zoom virtual town hall, and I couldn't be more excited. It's hard to follow my president, but it's easy to work with my president. I'm so glad to be here. I'm William Franklin, the Vice President for Student Affairs, and we are so excited. I want to say, first of all, congratulations to all the high school graduates. Listen, you overcame all the drama, all the issues, and you are now a high school graduate, and I want to truly congratulate you. To the community college students who spent 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years, however many it took you to get through the community college, you know how hard you worked, and we want to say congratulations to you. And like Dr. P said, some of you have already submitted the intent to enroll deposit, but there's some of you on this call who have not. June 1 is the deadline for that, and I want you to get your intent to enroll deposit in with you. You're going to get to meet some phenomenal folks today. Some of them are already in the Q&A box answering your questions, and they're delighted to be here. You're going to get to meet some really key folks. When you get to CSU Dominguez Hills, you'll understand why it's as special as the president described. But I want you to make sure that you stay connected to your email. You should probably check it daily. Log into your student portal as often as possible and follow us on all of our social media platforms. We'll have plenty of information that we need to share with you. This is an imperfect situation. COVID-19 has turned our world upside down, but we here at CSU Dominguez Hill, we came out of a legacy of struggle. And we're going to struggle through this, and we're going to come out better than we were before we got to it. So all during the month of May, we're about to have new student orientation. Once you submit that intent to enroll deposit, new student orientation is about to start May and June. We cannot wait to connect with you. I can't wait for you to meet some of our orientation leaders. These are some of our best and brightest students who were sitting where you sat 1, 2, or 3 years ago, looking to be a new student at CSU Dominguez Hills, and now they have distinguished themselves and become our orientation leaders. I can't wait for you to connect with them. This is all about, even though we're virtual, we're going to try to help you remain and stay connected. That's why the student affairs professionals who are on this call are going to begin to link with you. There are still ways of getting involved with clubs and organizations. We want you to know that all of our involvement programs are going to be kicking off really soon. There's going to be a Student Life Connection Summer Series where they're going to connect with you to try to get you connected to clubs and organizations, fraternity and sorority, some of our college programs. This is not the time to wonder whether or not you can still be connected, because we're certainly going to be trying to connect with you really good. And then during the month of June and July, you're also going to get a chance to meet some of our folks who are in health and psychological services, our career center, our student government, our Rose Black Resource Center, our Dreamer Center, our Queer Cultural Resource Center, Women's Resource Center. There's just tons of ways for you to feel connected and to know that CSU Dominguez Hills has your back. So you got to stay connected. We're going to be involved in quite a bit. I want to say I'm so excited. My virtual background is the brand new residence hall that's going to open up sometime in 2021. I'm excited about this building. I'm excited about what it's going to do for those students who will be living with us on campus. This is an exciting time to be at CSU Dominguez Hills. I'm so honored to serve as your Vice President for Student Affairs, and I cannot wait to meet you all, and that will be soon as we get rid of this health crisis and find our way back to the Toro Nation. That's all I have. We wanted to make sure that the next voice you heard and that the earliest voice you heard, we could not have navigated this crisis without our institutional technology folks. They have been doing yo person's work, and I want you to meet early on and get connected to this is the best vice president of institutional technology in the nation. This is Chris Manriquez. Go ahead, take it away, Chris.
Alrighty, thank you very much, William. So behind my shoulder, you're seeing the new instructional and innovation building that's going up in the front of the campus. There is a lot of building, and when we're able to return to campus, you're going to see still construction going on because we seriously have Dominguez Hills rising at this point. So welcome all Toros that are on this call. And on this call, let me just open by saying that it is the most amazing time to join the Toro Nation. Throughout of much trouble and turmoil comes resilience. And I tell you where you're going, in reality, after Dominguez Hills and through Dominguez Hills, resilience is going to be required. We will have, and some of these responses are based on questions I've already received, we will have available for you laptops, webcams, headsets, and a whole series of technology devices at a technology loaner program, which now is open to you as students as well. If you want to go to that URL, look up technology loaner program. We also have home internet access that we're going to be making available through various sorts of means, both working with external vendors as well as looking at some Wi-Fi devices. There's a full complement of Microsoft, Adobe, SPSS, MATLAB, LinkedIn, and a whole series of other platforms we have available for you to use without cost that you're a student with Dominguez Hills. And you'll be using these in your classes and courses as you move forward. And finally, the most important one I think to bring up is we're also going to be standing up through alternative instruction, a student-to-student call support center that we're going to be able to provide some support with a new virtualized setup on things we have learned over the last 5 to 6 weeks. Now, these type of items are going to continue to grow on campus as we continue to grow our digital footprint, and you'll see services begin to showing up all over campus in many different ways through what we're referring to as digital hubs. So you'll see a lot of that activity beginning to happen over the next couple weeks over summer. So that come fall, all the services will be stood up in a surefire pace. The last thing, I received this a lot from students, we are also standing up an AI platform that's going to be chat enabled, such that you're going to be able to type in a question, get the responses back in voice enabled response time. So all those things are active, currently working at Dominguez Hills. They're seriously being worked on by every avenue on the campus as we continue to pursue these developments. And the last thing that I want to share with you before I hand back over to the provost is going to be the most technical thing you need to learn. We are Dominguez Hills, and this is the Toro sign. Note the horn, the snout's got to be sticking out front. This is not Texas. So once a Toro, always a Toro. Glad to be on the call with you and can't wait to see you on campus physically.
So welcome everybody. As you've already seen from our president and from Vice President Franklin and Manriquez, this is a student-centered campus. My name is Michael Spag. I'm the provost, president for academic affairs. And I think that the question many of you have coming to Dominguez Hills is what's fall gonna look like? So I wanna share with you 4 different elements of what we've planned for. In spring, we were interrupted in a way that no one could have predicted. And I want to tell you that all the employees on our campus came through in heroic manners. Our faculty, our staff, all stepped up. We are truly a student-centered campus, and students are what all this work is about. As the president said earlier, we want you to come here and be successful. Don't defer your dreams. It's very important that you're realizing your dreams, and this is the first step. First question you might have is, what does virtual instruction look like? What's this going to mean for us in the fall? As you probably heard from our chancellor, or you've seen on the news, we've made a decision in the Cal State system, and this also applies to us at Dominguez Hills, that fall 2020 will be a virtual instructional model. And what we mean by that, there's a lot of terms that are thrown out. We are really talking about the notion that we are really going to be relegated to be hard-pressed to do anything face-to-face. It's going to be online, synchronous, asynchronous. There will, in a very rare occasion, be face-to-face opportunities, but that will have to reach a high threshold. And I know that some of your questions prior to this, things like, I live several hours away, do I have to come close to the campus? We want to ensure that we make this flexible so that you're able to fulfill your fall semester. So we will have a range of options going forward. Our class schedule will be posted where we will be able to annotate that, which will show whether classes will be synchronous, asynchronous, whether it will be online, Will some of the offerings be hybrid? All of that will be laid out for you. But I want to be clear, and the president will reinforce this. Fall 2020, we will be conservative. It will be delivered in a virtual manner. We want to ensure that your health and safety come number one. We also want to pay attention to what scientific information gives us. There has been speculation that we could have another spike toward the end of fall. We want to make sure we're conservative. We're ensuring your health and safety. What are we doing to prepare for this? Well, as I said earlier, we were disrupted in the spring, but for the fall, we are opening up a myriad of options for our faculty to be prepared to be able to give you a quality educational experience in the fall. So this will require a lot of our faculty going through online instruction. Online instruction has a certain pedagogy, there's a certain quality to it. We want to make sure that as many of our courses can be converted into online structures so you can benefit from that. A second thing that I want to share with you, and there have been a lot of questions about advising and tutoring. So we have today in the town hall, we have some of our experts, Maruth Figueroa. Dr. Maruth Figueroa is one of our experts in the University Advisement Center, and she'll be answering questions. We have at our website the ability to arrange advising center calls right now. We have an online sign up, online contact, same thing for tutoring services. So we're committed to answer all of your questions right now and a whole myriad of questions that you might have. Also, another area is how will we support you in a learning environment? As I mentioned earlier, this campus is student-centered. All of the faculty, all of the staff, at the end of the day, they want to make sure that you have a quality experience here. So if you are, as you are on this call right now in this video conference, you're showing confidence in us. You're saying that you want to become part of the Toro Nation. In order for us to earn that confidence, we have to deliver exceptional instruction for you. We are prepared to do that. We will be ramping up over the summer to deliver those kinds of options. We do not want you to defer your decisions. Anyone knows that right now, the fastest way to speed our recovery in the Los Angeles region is to have you graduate successfully in 4 years or 2 years as a transfer student with a bachelor's degree. If you have that, you'll earn right out of the gate $20,000 to $50,000 more a year. So we don't want anything to delay that. We want to support you in that. As Chris Manriquez alluded to earlier, once a Toro, always a Toro. We are also connected to you. We not only want to make sure you have access to our university, we want to make sure you complete your pathway, but we also have a commitment to you after you graduate. We want to make sure that we increase the value of your degree every day after you graduate from this institution. We want to be thriving in life, and that's our commitment to you. So I know you also have questions about things like, how can I complete a lab? If I'm a dance major, how will I be able to complete those requirements? Again, we have people online that are answering those questions, and I want you to feel free to ask those as we deliver this and we go ahead and design it for fall. With that, I'm going to turn it back to President Thomas Parham.
Thank you, Provost Spagna and Vice Presidents Manriquez and Franklin. And again, we want to say welcome to all of you who have joined us. I see our numbers are nearly 1,200 now. So delighted to see everybody. You can see that this executive management team, I should also mention Vice Presidents Michael Esquadro, who couldn't be with us, who's our Vice President for University Advancement on an interim basis, and Vice President Deborah Wallace, who we're very proud of, who is also with us, along with a number of our deans and other folk. The senior administration is excited about your new admission to the campus, and we can't wait to see you. So with that, let me turn back to Kara, who's our host, and have you direct some of the questions and see if we can engage some of our population that has joined us today.
Excellent, thank you. Just to allay some concerns, we are having questions coming in fast and furiously, and we're trying to answer them as fast as possible. We've answered 345 questions already, and the team is doing a fabulous job. I know that there's some concerns that people are having, that their questions are not being answered. We are going to gather up all the questions when this is over, and we're going to distribute them to the areas that can answer them best and make sure that you're going to get a response. Some of the questions are very personal, and so we want to make sure that you are being responded to appropriately, and we're trying to gather those up. So rest assured, your answer will come. It may not be in this moment. The questions that I'm seeing coming through, I know we had an agenda, and all of you VPs have talked somewhat about all of them in different venues. So here what I need to look at next is we've got a lot of change of major questions coming through. We have a lot of financial aid questions and a lot pertaining to NSO. I just want to point out to the panelists that those questions are coming in, so if they can take a moment to go back and answer them as quickly as possible, that would be great. If you are inclined to ask a question, I see some hands are up, and we're going to go to ask some live questions. Monica de la Paz, I apologize if I'm not pronouncing names correctly, but I will do my best. Monica, your hand is up. If you're ready to ask your question of the team, we'll release the microphone for you, and you can
Hi,
go
Monica,
ahead.
welcome.
Monica, okay, we'll go to the next one. Dozie Okonkwo, your hand is up.
Welcome.
Go right ahead. Are you ready to ask your question?
And make sure, folk, that you're taking your system off of mute when you do that.
You've been given the microphone, so you can, Dozie, if you want to ask your question, you can go ahead and ask it. If not, feel free to put it in the question and answer, and we'll get to it there. Oh, there you go. Go ahead. Dozie, we can hear you. All right, perhaps we'll come back to you. The next person is, let me see if I can see the name. I think it's Fahad Shaleen. Go ahead. You have the microphone. Fahad, can you hear us? Okay, we're going to
Yes.
lower. Oh,
Hello,
go ahead.
ma'am.
Hi, welcome.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Go ahead.
Fahad, welcome. What's your question?
Sir, first of all, I wanted to thank you for reaching out to the students, the new students, and helping us through this this pandemic situation, because this has been very critical for everybody. So I wanted to thank you, everyone, for helping us out in this moment.
Well, we appreciate that, and we appreciate your thanks. Know that in thanking me, you thank an entire team of people who work on our behalf, so, and on your behalf, really. So we appreciate.
My question is, I'm currently going to Los Angeles City College, and I was moving forward with an educational plan to finish my associate degree. Now, ever since the pandemic situation started, my educational plan has gone through a little changes. So I'm not graduating with associate degree. But also I'm admitted to Cal State Dominguez Hills. So since I'm not finishing my associate degree, but I'm still taking the courses, not all of them, but some of them, is that going to affect my admission decision?
Good question, Fahad. Dr. P, you want to start or you want me to start?
Go for it, Dr. Frank.
So good question, Fahad. We, across the system, know and understand what COVID-19 has done to impact students who were in the associate degree transfer pathway, students who were coming in with 60 units, students who were coming in with all the golden four. So we have to look at this on a case-by-case basis. From what you describe, even though you've not completed your associate degree transfer, you still are admissible, and it looks as though we have admitted you. I hope you've submitted your intent to enroll deposit and the whole 9 yards. When new student orientation comes up, you're going to get a chance to meet some phenomenal faculty and some phenomenal advisors. They will look at the plan that you were under when you were at your community college, and they will really match it to what you can do here in order to make up for the time that may have been lost due to COVID-19. But we're going to make sure that during new student orientation, we look at every student individually, their record of achievement, what they've done at the community college, and we're also going to be sensitive to what COVID-19 has done to their academic pathway and try to regain and realign to make sure that you're going to get through here with that bachelor's degree, because I know that was the goal once you started the associate degree of transfer. So we got you as soon as you're here, and I hope you've turned your intent to enroll in. We'll be able to meet with you specifically and individually at new student orientation.
Perfect. Next question.
Thank you. Dozie Okonkwo, you're back up again. You can go ahead and unmute yourself. We've given you the mic and you can ask your question. Okay. Because we are very limited with our time, we're at 3:40 right now. I'm going to move ahead and go to Keith Scott. Keith, you're next. Go ahead. Unmute
Welcome,
yourself.
Keith.
Ask your question. Keith, you have the microphone. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Here we go, Keith.
There we go.
My question is, I'm a transfer student from Southwest. Southwest. My question is, since that all my classes from Southwest is transferred over, how do I talk to a counselor about my my internship I have to do, and who do I talk to about the class I should take when this semester comes to start?
You want to do that, Provost? Or?
Sure. I mentioned earlier Dr. Maruth Figueroa, who oversees our University Advisement Center. She's right now overseeing some of the chat and questions that are coming in. If you go to our main website and go to CSUDH and then University Advisement Center, you can link in right now for having a personalized session for you to go through exactly your situation and the questions you have. And every one of these, as Vice President Franklin talked about earlier, they're individualized. So we want to make sure we understand exactly what your needs are, how we can accommodate you. And I will tell you that the University Advisement Center is stellar in terms of what they do. So I please encourage you to go to that website, sign up right now, and you'll be able to have somebody contact you immediately to set up a session.
Yeah, thanks, Keith, for your question. Next question.
All right. Jason Lee, you are next. Go ahead. Oh, Jason, there you go. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hello.
Okay.
I
Well,
think
we'll go to Arlen.
sorry. Hi, my name is Arlene. Can I ask my question, or did you want to pass it on to him?
No, that's okay. You got the microphone. Go ahead.
All right, Arlene.
So it's just, I'm sorry, it's two quick questions. I just wanted to know if work study would be an option, and realistically, obviously, I'm not from Carson. I live in the Coachella Valley, so it is kind of a drive to go. I want to know if I need to move out there since fall semester. You guys said it might be a hybrid, it might not be, but it's just I don't want to go all the way over there if I'm only going to do online classes. And again, I also wanted to know if work study would be offered.
Arlene, great question. Yeah, we now know that we at CSU Dominguez Hills, we could not be where we were or where we are without having student assistants. And many of those student assistants have work study. And you may wonder, well, how can I do work study in a completely virtual environment? Well, there's going to be opportunities for that. We know that we're going to need students to virtually assist us in this space during the fall at the very least. And so if you are a work study recipient, there will be offices that will be hiring student assistants to help them in this virtual space. Many of those you'll get to meet during new student orientation, where you'll be running into some of our student workers. And so that is really key. What I would urge you to do is, until you know what your courses are, there's no need to try to come and to find housing near here. If you're in Coachella Valley especially, you should just sort of stay put right now and understand that fall is going to be primarily virtual. So concentrating more so on your courses, creating a learning space, an opportunity where you live will be the most vital thing. And housing, university housing, will begin communicating with students soon around spring, if spring is an option and if spring is an opportunity. As the president said, we're going to be guided by public health officials and what's going on with this dreaded disease. But for the most part, work study, as well as you staying in Coachella Valley to study, will be the most important things come the fall.
Yeah, I want to add to that what Vice President Franklin said, and I know we have several questions about students that are wondering, should I relocate to be able to take advantage of a virtual fall? And I think exactly what Vice President Franklin said is true. Our job is to create flexibility for you. And again, as I said before, it's going to be in a very rare exception we're going to do anything face-to-face. It has a high bar. So it's our job to provide flexible learning environments for you to be able to benefit. And exactly what Vice President Franklin said, we don't want you spending time worrying about that. We want you spending time learning and being prepared to learn.
Yeah, let me add to what our provost said and Vice President Franklin, that we will manage this campus with your health and safety in mind. That is our primary factor. And so as we are in contact with offices of the governor, offices of the mayor and county supervisors, as we are in contact with City of Carson officials, as we are looking at a lot of incidence and prevalence data, we will make the best determination we can about when it is safe to be able to move in that space, as LA County now is a hotspot. But what we don't want to have happen is allow the health crisis to derail your academic progress or your participation in some of the other co-curricular activity. So much like each has pointed out already, we want you to engage and expect that there should be some movement in terms of your work study. And most importantly, we want you to think about enrolling and getting your intent to enroll, registering for the units and classes you have. And I want to qualify that not every class is online. I've taken online seminars before where you're looking at a set of modules like a PowerPoint presentation, and that's it. There's a difference between an online and a virtual call like we are now, where I'm teaching a course on a board and doing that piece. That's very different than straight online. As the provost said, there are very limited opportunities that we'll have for face-to-face engagement, because there are some courses and some labs, some things in the arts that you simply cannot do. And so we're having to now meet rigorous standards and propose those limited things that will allow us to do that in the immediate moment. But again, trouble don't last always. So it is not going to be like this forever. It's a temporary pause to protect your health and safety, and it's an investment in your future. So hang with us. We look forward to seeing you.
Good stuff.
Excellent. Thank you. Maisha Vines, you are next. Go ahead, unmute yourself, and you can ask your question.
Hi, Maisha. Welcome.
Maisha, are you with us? Can you unmute?
There you go.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I
Yep.
can.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Hello. Thank you for holding this virtual meeting for all the students, because like myself, we all had a lot of questions. So one of my questions is, how can I access my requirements and course description in the healthcare management department before my NSO meeting?
So we actually have associate deans. We have Associate Dean Enrique Ortega, who is online right now. He's one of our panelists. He's somebody that can reach out to you in the chat room to get connected with you. We have deans, associate deans, faculty that are on this town hall right now that can answer that directly and make a connection with you. It's all about relationships and getting to your individualized needs. So I will look for Associate Dean Ortega to be able to follow up with you and connect with you about those questions you have before NSO.
Maisha, if you haven't already, if you can go ahead and put your question in there so that the person who's going to be answering you will be able to find you and respond, that would be great.
And Provost Spango brought up a really good, and we're really stressing this quite a bit. If you're in the chat room with your hand raised about specific courses and classes, and do know that new student orientation is just that. You're going to get to meet your advisor. You'll be in contact with that advisor. You can email them as much as you need to and connect with them on a personal way. So if your hand, you know, you're at the airport and they say, like, make sure you're ready to go when you get to the scanner. Right now, if you have a question about your specific courses, do know that starting the next few days, NSO will start. You'll get your NSO appointment, and you'll be able to meet some phenomenal advisors who can answer all of your questions specifically tailored to your academic needs in your major, in your college. Faculty and professional advisors will be there for you.
Thank you. Armand Izadifar, you are next.
Hey, Armand.
You have unmute yourself and you can ask your question. There you are. We can. Yes. Armand, I'm sorry, it's really hard to hear you. Can you take yourself off of speaker?
Yes. Not
if you're driving, though.
Not any further, right?
It's very, very hard to hear you. Maybe it'd be best if you put your question in the question and answer.
Guys, you hear me now?
We can, but it's very low. So go ahead and we'll try to decipher it.
So now it's more clear.
Go ahead.
First of all, I'm so appreciative of Special Dr. Franklin. I just met him about 1 or 2 months ago. I want to just throw a question. I want to just to make sure the pre-S is English. And also, I have some statute says is holding for NSO. I want to make sure after passing pre-NSO also is enough. I know I have to wait for the NSO only. I want to just to make sure the process is okay for the pre-NSO or the NSO for my program for the fall semester. Just want to make sure everything is okay for that.
Yeah, I missed most of that, so I'm not sure how to.
Armand, we're going to try to get your question off to the side because it was very difficult. We heard bits of it about NSO and that you wanted to make sure that you were on track for NSO. So let me see if we can get your question answered differently. So please stand by. Mia Garcia, you are next. If you would like to unmute yourself to ask your question.
Hi, Mia.
She's using an older version of Zoom and she cannot use the voice chat.
Aha. Okay. So Mia, your question will need to go in. We have been answering, we are now up to 528 answered questions. We have 150 open. So we are moving fast and furiously. We are at 351. James Davis, you are next. Please go right ahead.
Hey, James.
James, go ahead.
Yes, are you guys able to hear us?
We can,
Yes.
Go ahead.
Hi, James is an incoming freshman, and our question is specific to the Technology Loaner Program. Will we be able to discuss receiving a technology loaner with our counselor during our NSO?
Excellent question. And who is speaking for James?
This is James's mom.
Hey, James's mom.
Well, hi, James's mom. And introduce yourself to the group.
Hi there, my name is Desi Davis, and I am the proud mom of an incoming freshman who was adopted at the age of 2, him and his twin sisters. So they're coming out of a foster care system. So we're very proud.
How wonderful is that? Well, so I want Vice President Manriquez to answer the first half of your question, and then I want Dr. Franklin to weigh in on the second part, which is our Guardian Scholars piece. So Dr. Franklin, hold on for a moment. Vice President Manriquez, go for it.
Hello, James's mother. As one adopted parent to another, I want to say congratulations on many behalfs. There is the Technology Loaner Program that you can take advantage now, going directly onto the website. As a registered student, even as a new incoming student, we've enabled those for all the students who have gone in and registered. So you can make that request directly on the website as of today. So you can go directly there and make that request yourself, or you can talk with the advisor when you arrive on campus and have a conversation with the advisor as well. Both of those mediums will work.
Awesome, thank you.
Sure thing.
Yeah, and I'll just follow up very quickly to say hello and welcome and thank you for what you do. I'm so glad that your student is going to be with us in the fall. We have one of the best Toro Guardian Scholar programs in the nation, arguably, led by the one and only Joshua, I'm sure is on. So if you want to throw some information in the Q&A box to introduce Joshua to your student, Joshua will be glad to connect with that student and then go from there. That's why holding Zooms like this are so important, so that we can make those connections early and make those connections often to ensure the success of the student. Thank you for trusting us and passing that baton to us, and we promise to get that student over the finish line.
Awesome, I'll make sure to include the information.
Thank you, Mr. Davis, we appreciate you.
Real quickly, there is an opportunity to talk about NSO holds. Maruth, are you available to speak to that right now? Because there's a lot of questions about it. If you are, we can, you can go ahead and you have the floor.
Hello, welcome everybody to Cal State Dominguez Hills. I know there's a lot of questions with regards to advising and NSO holds. If you are registered for NSO, your hold will be lifted on the day that you check in and attend. At that same day, as Dr. Franklin has mentioned, you will be able to not only meet with advisors that will go over your general education requirements, but you will also be meeting with your major advisors. And finally, I know the question that keeps popping up is, when do I register? And towards the end of that session, you will also be able to register for your fall courses. So at the end of orientation, you will walk away with your fall schedule. And again, in the chat box, I added information to the University Advisement Center. You can always reach out, send questions, but know that at orientation, you will be meeting with your advisors and that NSO hold will be lifted.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Figueroa. And before we take her off screen, I want to highlight that virtual background you have, because beyond your CSUDH shirt, there is our magnificent library, which actually has one of the best archives, I think, in this entire state of California, that has collections that date back like hundreds and hundreds of years. And we just appreciate it. And thank you for your answer to our student. Thanks, Baruch.
Thank
you. Dr. Parham, with your permission, we have 4 minutes left in our time, and there are a lot of questions that are coming in fast and furiously still. I would like to ask if someone could speak to Student Disability Services. There have been quite a few questions about that. So if someone's available to speak to that, that would be our next topic.
Good. Adam, are you online?
I sure am. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Future Toros. My name is Adam Casarda. I'm the director of the Disability Student Resource Center. Pleased to be speaking with you today. I've been trying to answer some questions about how to register with us. I've seen some about how do you do it. You can contact us via dss@csudh.edu or our website to get more information. Everything is tailored to your particular needs as a student. We don't have out-of-the-box accommodations for everybody or for certain disabilities. It's all up to you as an individual. And that's done with a collaborative experience through you and one of our advisors on our team that will work with you to develop that accommodation plan. So again, please reach out to us, dss@csudh.edu or our website, csudh.edu/SDRC, and we will reach out to you as soon as possible. And like I said, I'm trying to get to all your questions, so please be patient. I'll get to them as fast as I can.
Yeah, we appreciate you engaging that. Let's give the audience also a sense of the kinds of disabilities that we're able to accommodate and the kind of physical abilities that we try to enhance.
You bet, President Parham. So we serve all disabilities, everything from low vision to blind to hard of hearing to deaf to ADHD to other learning disabilities to psychological disabilities. We work with every single disability that's out there. There's not an exhaustive list because there are not enough pages in the world to write those. So again, it's all a tailored approach to your specific disability, how it affects you in an educational setting, and those accommodations we lay out. So, yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for highlighting that. Appreciate
Thanks, Adam. I didn't recognize Adam with the beard. That was after COVID. Good to see you, Adam.
Thank you.
Adam grew the hair. I think I lost, so we're all good.
Also, one other quick announcement. There will be financial aid webinars daily that will address student-specific questions. The dates and the times of those webinars are going to be on the financial aid website. And Marcus, we are now at 3:58. Dr. Parham.
So,
go ahead.
Carol, let's see. We've got probably 1,000, almost 1,100 people still on. And if we have a minute, let's see if we can't just extend it and take a few more. I just want to try to accommodate. That's what we do in the Toro Nation, is try to accommodate our students and families. So I'm going to just, review and do something different with my calendar and try to spend a few more minutes with our team. Let me invite my team to do the same thing. So let's get to a couple more questions and see if we can't get some more answers.
Excellent. One thing I do want to point out for all the attendees and the participants, we will have resources at the end of this available on screen for you to be able to access more support beyond today. So please note that that is also coming. We've not forgotten. And since we're extending it, we will be able to answer some more questions. Fiola Sila, you are next with your hand up if you would like to unmute yourself and go ahead and ask your questions.
Hello, thank you.
Hi, Fiola.
How everyone doing?
Good.
We're doing good. How you doing?
That's good. I'm good, thank you. I just had a question because I wanted to know, like, what does the virtual kind of landscape look like? I know that I've heard you guys talking about like the virtual reality we're going to be learning in and stuff. And I'm at Southwest right now. I'm going to be a transfer student. And some of my classes like are good. Sir, I can't remember who said it, but with the like online whiteboards and stuff, you know, like someone actually teaching a class, but some of them are just kind of YouTube based, and that's kind of been not the most motivating. So
right. So let me answer this, Fiola, and then turn it to our provost and see if he wants to call on any of our other academic affairs managers. But we thank, first of all, everybody for their patience and understanding in moving through this. So whether you're at Southwest or El Camino or Compton or at one of the local high schools, everybody got thrown into this crisis. And we are traversing a landscape that is literally unparalleled in my lifetime. And so everybody tried to do their best to try to get folk through this in our public schools and our private schools and our community colleges and our four-year universities. And so there's been a lot of fumbling, a lot of whatever, but we did the best we could in the immediate moment. You've heard us and the provost talk about the fact that during the summer, we are providing a level of upskill for a number of our faculty, our staff, and in fact, our students to help them get better acquainted with technology. So what Vice President Manriquez was talking about in terms of both the loaner program there will also be some professional development to help us get better at what we do. And that's what's most important. But let me not be too long-winded and ask our provost to weigh in and describe really what does academic instruction look like in a virtual reality.
Thank you. Just to complete our review of the various buildings on campus, we're very blessed to have some exceptional academic leaders. So I would call upon Dean LaPolt. He's on with also Associate Dean Leonardo Martinez. And you'll notice he's very proud of being in front of the Science and Innovation building in his background. Again, the first building that's been an academic building on this campus in 25 years. And then also on the other end of the spectrum, I want you to introduce to Dean Mitch Avila and Associate Dean Tim Carone in the arts area, because I think this will get you a flavor both in the sciences and the arts, the kind of planning that we're doing to provide this kind of instruction. So let me turn it over to Dean LaPolt for a brief update, and then I'll turn it to Dean Mitch Avila for a brief update on the arts as well.
Great, thank you, Provost Bagna. I really appreciate the opportunity. You know, our faculty have been really heroic. They've been thrown into this situation to provide alternative instruction off campus under a really short time span. What they're doing, and they were very successful. So for example, I've been hearing from physics instructors that they have devised lab sessions that they think are actually more engaging than the in-person sessions, and students being more successful. And that's a real key, you know, getting the students to learn the learning outcomes involved. And that's the goal. And so what they're going to be busy doing in that department and other science departments, for example, is figuring out what are the ways that they can teach students remotely, right, off campus. Now, there may be some cases where it's really critical to have face-to-face instruction. And again, we're very mindful of the health requirements for that. So we're going to be looking at that very carefully. But I think, and we're also going to be providing professional development and training to the faculty about innovative new ways to provide that instruction. So we're excited. They're excited that you're interested in coming, and we hope to be able to engage you in fall.
And Dean Mitch Avila.
So welcome to the Toro Nation. I wanted to just say a few words about our arts faculty, our arts programs. We're seeing a lot of creative activity happening from some of our best faculty on campus, and they're really engaged with inventive ways of teaching their arts classes. This is true in theater, dance, our film and TV programs, and our art and design programs as well. So some of these are some of our most creative faculty. They've got some exciting ways of engaging with our students. And I've been very impressed by the ways in which they've adapted their classes, worked one-on-one with our students, and are really preserving the great academic programs we have in the College of Arts and Humanities. So good things happening. It's going to be an interesting semester, but it's going to set us up for success, particularly as we go forward.
And then before I turn it back to the president, you can see by both of our deans there the incredible commitment that they have to deliver instruction. I said at the outset of my comments that by picking Dominguez Hills, we have to earn your trust. So we want to make sure that your educational experience is something that's phenomenal. Mitch Avila has put together home recitals with his music department in Scotland. And so students were able to finish out their senior year by doing home recitals. And I got to tell you, it was amazing. In some ways, just you had more involvement by the community by having them virtually. And that's an example. I'll throw it back to the...
Yeah, thank you, Provost Spagna and Dean Avila and Dean LaPolte. By the way, you saw our brand new Science and Innovation building that the Provost talked about. It is the first brand new academic building that we built with any portion of state funds on the campus in 25 years. But that'll be followed by Vice President Manriquez, you see behind him, the virtual reality of our innovation and instruction building that I talked about. Behind Dr. Franklin, the new Living Learning Community and Residence Hall that Lynn and her team work with. The whole campus is just transforming, and that landscape is there. In fact, under the leadership of Vice President Deborah Wallace. Deborah Wallace, wave to the folk and say hello. Unmute her mic if you would and let her say hello to the folk.
Hello, Toros.
And what kind of things that are we looking at in terms of our campus and master plan, and what do we have planned for the future so people have a sneak peek into what we're looking at?
Well, behind me, as you've heard Dr. P and our other vice presidents talk about, this is our new Science and Innovation Center, and we are ready to open up the door on that one. It is a marvelous facility, and we've got plans for a build out for the next 25 plus years on this campus, and we are just doing magnificent things on the campus. I did a walk around today, and I see fences coming down. I see construction going up, and it is just going to be amazing on this campus. It is truly going to be transformed over the next few years.
So I remind folk all the time, thanks Vice President Wallace, that the myth is different than the reality. And this is not your grandmama or grandfather's Dominguez Hills any longer. This is a new day. We are transforming the campus, and we continue to transform lives that indeed will transform America. Cara, you got another question for us in our last couple minutes.
All right, I do want to turn to a question that I'm seeing asked in the question and answer regarding professional development for faculty, if that could also be addressed in light of online learning and ensuring student access. Could someone speak to that, please?
Happy to speak to it. I mentioned it in my opening remarks. We period of professional development options for faculty over the summer to get them upskilled in places of doing everything from online instruction to hybrid instruction to synchronous instruction to asynchronous instruction. And we're doing it on multiple fronts. So part of this is boot camp workshops. Part of this is really relying on our wonderful team in information technology. Reza has been wonderful. We also have talked about embedding instructional designers within virtually to help faculty. So there is a full blitz in terms of professional development. It goes to the previous question. I want to ensure in this new environment that the faculty have the tools that they need to be able to deliver instruction in a fully virtual environment. So that is our number one concern going through the spring and then heading into the summer. So I can assure you that's number one on our list of making sure that professional development is something we invest in with colleagues.
It also, I would reinforce, I think, for our entire audience that the theme for my convocation address, that's a ceremony that begins the academic year. In my first year when I came 2 years ago, was dreaming about what's possible and not simply settling for what's traditional. And so some of those dreams have now started to come to fruition as we move forward, as you look at new buildings and new degree programs, et cetera, that were there. In fact, I'm going to ask our provost to really mention some of our new degree programs. But also this year, my theme was about owning student success. And how ironic is it that we're now talking about owning student success and have now been confronted with a crisis that is forcing us to adapt to new ways of living and being, but we've not dampened down not 1 ounce our commitment to owning the success of our students. And that's what makes Dominguez Hills real special. Mr. Provost, talk about some of our new degree programs that our students will be
Well,
excited.
so I'm going to start off with the big one, which is behind that, behind Vice President Manriquez. We are going to hang a banner on that as soon as we can, which is that we just received accreditation for our College of Business Administration and Public Policy called AACSB accreditation. This is so rare in our environment. We're very proud of. Not only does it show the quality of our programs, but it also is something that will go on student transcripts. You'll be invited into honor societies, which gets you automatic entrance into a whole variety of jobs. I also want to mention that we have fairly new master's programs, one notable one in cybersecurity that's just flourished. It's a program that we do in collaboration with El Camino College out of our computer science division. We have world-class STEM programs. As a matter of fact, you saw in the Science and Innovation Building, Dr. Kamal Hamdan has been working with our students to produce face shields during the pandemic. And then we have other accreditations that we've just received or we're pursuing. For instance, in the area of nursing, we just got a full reaccreditation. In music, we're pursuing accreditation. Also in journalism. So just a variety of programs that we are initiating and then making sure we meet excellent standards. So it's not just acquiring programs and building new ones, but making sure they meet a standard of excellence to prepare our students to be course and beyond.
Thank you. And for our students who are interested in the health sciences, we have clinical lab science, a nursing program. We have orthotics and prosthetics. I'm talking about one of maybe 12 in the entire region who makes orthotics and prosthetics folk, but also occupational therapy. And I know our provost would want to share with our audience some new news that has only been afforded to 2, let me say that again, 2 universities in this entire state of California that are public regional comprehensive. Mr. Provost, what do we want to tell our audience?
We just achieved a new doctorate of occupational therapy. It'll be launched in 2 years. And actually our hiring rate of students that come through those programs right now is 100% on the other side of graduation. On the orthotics programs and prosthetics, we prepare over 50% of all the professionals in the state of California. I'm not talking about the LA region. So it's the example of the excellence we have in those programs.
And so in addition to those particular therapists, we also have, we haven't mentioned Dean Davis and his team in our School of Education who do phenomenal work and train a substantial number of teachers who are providing instruction to students in there. I mean, this is what we do in the Toro Nation in training students who then go out and then train other students and new generations of folks. So we're excited about all the things that we do in all of our different schools. Cara, any other questions for us in our last couple minutes?
Well, you know, I'm going through some of these, and if someone could address, globally speaking, someone from the panelists, where students will be able to find information about speaking to an advisor, their transcripts, these are questions that we're seeing repeatedly being asked, taking courses concurrently at a JC, those kinds of questions, if there is a global address or email. And also I want to draw everybody's attention to the webinar chat. A lot of our panelists have been putting down specific information with URLs or emails that you can reach out to speak to someone individually. That is an invaluable resource. We're also going to have some more coming up towards the end when we get to our slides again. So globally speaking to, like I said, speaking to an advisor, transcripts, taking courses at a JC.
So the advisor front, I know that Maria and Maruth have already put in the chat box. So the easiest way to get that connection is www.csudh.front/UAC. And that's posted in the chat box there as a main place to get to advisors and to get set up for NSO questions and so forth.
Right, and be sure, if you have not turned your intent to enroll in, do that by June 1, June 1, not July. And then make sure you attend NSO. You will get to meet your advisor, specific questions will be, and they'll connect you to certain offices where you need to get more additional help. Some of our cultural resource centers are online, the Black Student Resource Center, the Queer Cultural Resource Center, you're going to get connected to a sea of individuals who can answer specific and general questions. So NSO is really the gateway, and it's that next rung in the ladder of you climbing toward that degree. So looking forward to seeing y'all at NSO.
I think we got time for one more question before our slide. Although, let's see if we can unmute Dean Davis's mic as well and let him say hello too, since I mentioned him. I want to unmute Dean Nguyen as well.
Hello all. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Not to just to hear myself on camera here, but also to answer the question that Kara just asked about who to reach out for advising. There's the University Advising Center, and I think that Provost Spagna directed you correctly there, but you're also all part of a college. And the starting point in any kind of inquiry, general inquiry, would be through the dean's office, either through the dean or the associate dean, who could route you to your program advisor, your department chair, who could lead you into the right direction of getting specific questions regarding your programming and anything else regarding the new student orientation or transfer student orientation meetings.
Thanks, Dean Davis. Appreciate you. Dean Nguyen, do we have you online as well?
Yes, sir. Thank you, President Warren. So I just want to welcome and congratulate all the students join our Toro Nation. And also I want to let you know the value of attending a AACSB accredited school is tremendous. You pretty much join the top 5%, the top business school in the world. And also the public administration program we have also is NASPA accredited. It's the same level of qualification, and also will bring you a lot of excitement and also the virtual learning opportunity to all of you. And welcome. Thank you.
And thanks. Good to see you. Is Dean Payton with us?
I think Associate Dean Ortega is with us.
Oh, okay. Hi, Associate Dean Ortega.
Hi, thank you. And welcome to all our students. I'm the Interim Associate Dean for the College of Health, Human Services, and Nursing. I would just like to extend a very warm welcome to each of you. For those of you coming to our college, we're very excited to welcome you into one of our 10 programs. We're producing professionals that are out there on the front lines for the public health issues that we're having in this state, in this country currently. And we're very excited for you to share in the expertise, to be trained, and to get out there and help us be a healthier and a better California. Welcome, and I'm here at your service.
Good. And we wouldn't be right without also introducing our Dean of Continuing Ed. So don't know if anybody is online from them, since I can't see all the faces.
I think if we have Linda or if we have Kim on, and then we also have, I know we have Marwin on from the library.
All right, so we'll say hello to them. So Kara, take us on with one more, and then we'll put up slides, and I'll have a couple closing remarks.
Okay, so the other questions that keep popping up are let me just go back in because these are moving so fast. We've gone to 764 answered questions here. Wow. And they're moving as I'm trying to read them out loud to you. Let me see what else we've got here that might. The financial aid seems to be popping up quite a bit, very specific, but, and I know we can't address all of those. Okay, so a lot of questions about intent to enroll. How do they submit that? And I know we've mentioned this several times. The deadline is June 1st. We have a beautiful slide to put up there. Can someone speak to that really quickly?
Yeah, Christina or Deborah, are you online? Christina or Deborah, can you speak to that specifically? Christina Rios, are you there? Go ahead.
I know she's in the chat box answering questions because I just saw her pop up.
Hi. Yes.
There she is. Sorry. Hey, you.
Hi. Hello, everyone. Yes, if you are going to submit your intent to enroll, what you need to do is log into mycsudh.edu, And go ahead and you will see under admissions, it will provide you with information in terms of submitting your intent to enroll. If you have any questions specifically about submitting your intent to enroll, feel free to contact Vicky Herrera. And I've put her information in the panelist and attendee general information. She will be more than happy to walk you through that process.
And I want to encourage everyone, it was announced earlier, there are going to be a series of financial aid webinars and sessions and conversations about financial aid. Make sure you get to the financial aid website. Just Google CSUDH financial aid, and they'll be posting those dates online so that you can begin to interact with financial aid counselors and get your specific questions. Money matters. And if you're receiving financial aid, you got to take care of those matters. And financial aid counselors will be the one who can answer those questions specifically and then begin to help you understand what it's going to mean for the fees and the tuition pieces. So log on to financial aid's website to get those upcoming dates soon.
And Dr. Franklin, while you have the mic, there are a lot of families who worry about, is there adequate financial aid and how do I qualify? And am I really that unusual to be on financial aid? What is peculiar about the CSU system and particularly Cal State University Dominguez Hills when it comes to financial aid?
You know, what is not only peculiar, what is most, almost in a sense, over 72% of our students are on some form of financial aid. And many of those students have significant needs. And what the federal government and the state government have decided to do is like, listen, your income level and your zip code should not be the determinants as to whether or not you get a college degree. And so FAFSA is the gateway for some of our undocumented students and some of our students who are dreamers. We also have some phenomenal opportunities with state aid that can help offset some of your tuition. So there's an old adage that you have not because you ask not. Well, there are multiple ways of asking. Financial aid forms are definitely there. We strongly encourage you to get to those financial aid webinars and get those questions answered. It is how Dominguez Hills found its way. Many of the people in these little boxes were financial aid recipients, or they wouldn't have gotten in these little boxes to be now your professors and your administrators and your counselors. And I'm proud to say that at Dominguez Hills, we have phenomenal financial aid counselors who can try to address and to help and to answer all of your questions.
Yeah, thank you for that. So Cara, take us home with the slides and then I'll have some closing remarks.
All right. Marcus, if you can open up to slide number 6, please.
I love that picture.
All right, so this is our slide if you'd like to take over from here. We also have one more, Dr. Parham, for the buildings, and then the resources come right after that.
Perfect. So this is a series of summary slides I'm gonna call on the team to talk about first. So all of you who have been admitted, right? We are excited both for our high school seniors as well as our transfer students from area community colleges and community colleges across the state and sometimes even the nation. So we're glad to welcome you, but there is this thing we call intent to enroll. What we did, unlike some other campuses, is extend our deadline, which is normally May 1st, we kicked it to June 1st, recognizing that the COVID crisis just put everybody in kind of a tailspin and we needed them additional time to recover. So June 1st is your deadline on the intent to enroll. Dr. Franklin, anything else on that?
Nope, that's it, Press.
All right, we're good. Let's go to the next slide. So I wanted to show you just some of our new building. So on the top left, you see our innovation instruction building, the artist renderings of what that's gonna look like on the campus. That sits directly across, that is the north side of campus and sits directly across from the west side, which is where my office is, where I look at that every day when I'm on campus. You'll see a similar picture of what the current construction looks like in that middle. At the top right, you'll see our innovation and, our science and innovation building, which is just a magnificent piece that is already done. We finished it this semester, and we are now having faculty move in and equipping labs, et cetera. Our SCI Center, which is our Center for Innovation and STEM Education, is already up there and active. I think as the provost mentioned, they were in fact innovative and out front of a lot of different institutions producing face shields and masks for first responders and healthcare professionals in this COVID crisis. Below that picture on the far right in the middle is our living learning community. This is not simply a dormitory. This is a living learning community and a residence hall. And that additional 506 bed spaces right there will supplement the 647 we are now. So we are gradually transforming this from a commuter campus to a more residential one. And you'll see a slide on what that housing complex looks like on the bottom right. And right next to it then on the bottom left, clockwise at about 7, 8 o'clock, is the backside of that Science and Innovation building that we are very proud of. So whether you look coming from the south, you look at the north, you look at the east or the west, Cal State University Dominguez Hills is transforming. Next slide. Now, this is real important because we want everybody on the call who is left to pay attention to this and take a moment to screenshot this. So we're gonna leave it up here so you can look at it. When you think about campus resources, generally you can find almost all these resources on our campus website, which for those who don't know is www.csudh.edu. That'll get you to the campus website and allow you to search out what you'd like. But there are a couple departments that we've highlighted here. Admissions, the ASI, which is our Associate Students Incorporated. And I want to know if Christian Jackson or Rahab is still on the call. If they are, we'll try to identify them in a minute.
Great.
You'll see Athletics, Basic Needs Center, the Career Center, our College of Arts and Humanities, College of Business Administration, Public Policy, College of Education, College of Health, Human Service and Nursing, College of Natural and Behavioral Sciences, our Educational Opportunity Program, our E2E, our Encountering Excellence Program, Financial Aid, and Information Technology. All those are listed there, so take a moment, screenshot those. You'll also see Local Union. Take a moment and screenshot this, New Student Orientation, Office of Student Life, the Queer Culture Resource Center, our Student Disability Center, Student Health and Psychological Services, the Rose Black Resource Center, the Toro Dreamer Success Center, Toro Guardian Scholars, University Advising, University Housing, our University Library, our Veterans Resource Center, and our Women's Resource Center. Hold that a moment. Let's keep that slide up so we allow our audience to screenshot. You'll also see why we highlight these, ladies and gentlemen, why what I said about the university is not closed. We are offering campus instruction. We are offering that across all of our academic schools, and we are providing a level of support and resources in a telecommuting format, some virtual, through all these centers. All these centers are open and available for engaging that. That's what your fees really go to cover. Is there another slide following this?
Just our next steps.
So let's talk about next steps. Let me turn it over to Dr. Franklin and walk us through what you want students to pay attention to here.
Been saying this all afternoon. Submit your intent to enroll by June 1. That is really important. And there's a question there. I'll go a little slowly so you can get Vicki Hadada's number at 310-243-2854. Be sure to register for new student orientation by June 1, 2020. Lorena de la Cruz is there at 310-749-6352. Complete your direct self-placement, freshman only, prior to new student orientation. And so you will, that's why I want you to stay connected to your portal, stay connected to your email, follow us on social media. You will make sure, so you'll get a lot of information about the direct self-placement for the freshmen. Apply for a housing by Monday, June 1. You may say, well, why am I applying for housing? Well, there's some unique cases where some students will definitely need housing. We talked earlier about our Toro Guardian Scholars. Many of those students will need housing, some of our students. So there are many reasons why you need to, if you think it's going to be applicable to you, submit your housing application apply for housing by June 1. Submit your required financial aid documents. And again, log on to the financial aid website to find out when most of those sessions are going to be, because they'll be able to go really into detail about your specific financial aid packet. And then submit your official transcripts by Wednesday, July 15th. Everyone on this call, up to the 1,200 who were here, you were all admitted conditionally. Well, what does that mean? Well, that means that you reported what your grades are going to be in certain courses, and then you went and took those courses. So the reason why we want your official transcript is to ensure that you now have the required courses that you said you were going to take in high school, that you said you're going to take in community college, and those are the official transcripts that move you from being a conditional Toro to always a Toro. So we're looking forward to getting those final transcripts by Wednesday, July 15th, and those are the next steps.
Thank you, Dr. Franklin. So I want to close this segment. Cara, you have any final words before I close it out?
No, I just wanted to make sure that everybody knows that this presentation is going to be available online. We will have a YouTube link. And if there are any incorrect URLs, although I'm seeing a couple here and there, we're going to post those in. Any questions that we were not able to answer today, we will capture, and we will do our very level best to get those responded to either in an FAQ or individually from areas, so that everybody has their questions answered. And your closing remarks, sir.
All right. I want to, again, congratulate our high school graduates, our community college graduates, on being admitted to California State University, Dominguez Hills. As you can tell, my team is just excited and prepared to receive you, and we look forward to receiving your intent to enroll if you haven't already submitted it. I'm reminded about education and why this is so important. One of my favorite people, as I think about quoting, is astronaut Mae Jemison. And I think about her because she reached for the stars. And she reminds us, Toro Nation, that we should never allow other people's limited expectations of us to limit our own expectations. And I think that's important. It's also important to remember, one of my favorite folk was Cesar Chavez. And Brother Cesar Chavez reminded us that we cannot seek achievement for ourselves and forget about progress and prosperity for our community. Our ambitions must be broad enough to include the aspirations and needs of others for their sakes and for our own. So at Cal State University, Dominguez Hills, when we talk about transforming lives that later transform America, that is why we need you students to finish your education. Because the legacy that was left by the Cesar Chavez's of the world and the Mae Jemisons of the world demand that we do that. Indeed, I close with Brother Malcolm, who reminded us that education is the passport to the future. For tomorrow will belong to those who prepare for it today. We want you to continue your education here in the Toro Nation. We can't wait to accept you. For all of our distinguished faculty, our illustrious staff, our magnificent senior management, and the 17,000 students and 100,000 alumni in our Toro Nation, we thank you, we congratulate you, we appreciate you being with us today. I'm Dr. Thomas Parham, your president. I bid you farewell. Take care.